What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HnH Podcast. I am your co-host, Hamza Rana, joined by my older brother, Huzaifa Z. Rana. We're back at it with another HnH mock draft. This time, not 1.0, 2.0 here for you guys.
Don't they do 1.1?
No.
Or is it just go straight to 2.0?
Straight to 2.0, man. We're
All
different. Different out here, man. This is going to be another super exciting episode. Huzaifa, what are we saying today?
I am doing great, Hamza. Thank you so much for the introduction. Yeah, man, it's exciting. Obviously, conference games just ended a couple of days ago, and now we're back into another mock draft episode. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to doing this with you, Hamza, yet again. I just hope that by the time this video uploads, someone did not declare for the draft anymore and they're going back to college, because that would really suck for our mock draft. But here we are, man. We're ready to go here. We're going to change the order up this time. So I will be going with the first overall pick. So I'll be all the odd numbers, and Hamza will be all the even numbers. So without further ado, Hamza, let's just get right into this. Let's not make our viewers wait any longer. Straight content, straight college football. You have something to say?
No, I was just going to announce who you have. That's okay.
Say again?
I was going to announce the start of the mock draft. So ding, 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 ding.
Okay, here we go. So let's get straight to business here, Hamza. This is a business straight episode. I got my notes right here on my phone. First overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them mock, shockingly drafting Fernando Mendoza, Hamza, quarterback from the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, on the time of recording, he is a national championship winner. First time in school history for Indiana. Hamza, not much has to be said about this guy. You talk about a winner. You talk about a guy who seems like a great locker room character as well, a guy that people can follow. Fernando Mendoza, I think, is going to be, maybe potentially a savior for the Raiders. I think in a couple years from now, we can say that Mendoza is easily a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. It's just a matter of, will he be able to produce Super Bowl and playoff appearances for them? So, Hamza, I have Fernando Mendoza going first overall to the Las Vegas Raiders.
For sure. I think in every single mock draft, he will be the unanimous number one pick. Yes. I generally don't see any situation, especially that Dante Moore decided to stay another year in college, that anyone goes higher than Fernando Mendoza. So now the mock draft kind of changes a bit, because previously in our mock draft, we had quarterback Dante Moore out of Oregon going number 2 to the Jets. With the Jets being on the clock at number 2. They could go multiple different routes here, but in this one, I'm just going to go probably one of the best defensive players in this draft. I'm going to go Arvell Reese, linebacker out of Ohio State. We talked about this guy before. Again, this guy is just a monster. Had 6.5 sacks this year for the Buckeyes. Played 281 run defensive snaps and 249 cover snaps. Again, this is a guy who's super versatile, and you can play him honestly anywhere. You can play him at edge. You can play him at linebacker. I personally think his best fit in the NFL would probably be best at edge rusher, because he was best at stopping the run as a linebacker, and he can also bend at edge. So I think Arvell Reese, a guy who can change the game. He's the game changer. I think this is a good start to start finally rebuilding this Jets defense, and I think starting that with Arvell Reese is a good step in the future for this Jets team.
There you go. I like that pick. Comes up for the New York Jets. Third overall here, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting Francis Mayunoya. Forgive me if I pronounce his name incorrectly. We're talking about a 6'6" tackle weighing at 315 pounds. Out of University of Miami. He was a stud in the national championship game for the Miami Hurricanes. Just a big body, a versatile tackle. He's able to go outside and also extend run plays with his ability to get to the secondary and be able to block these linebackers and these defensive backs. I do see the Arizona Cardinals eventually drafting a quarterback in this draft. And why not start with an offensive tackle to help solidify that offensive line and protect whatever quarterback they pick. But Francis Mayunoya, again, forgive me if I pronounce his name incorrectly. I just think he's a great overall player. Tall, like I mentioned, 6'6", 315 pounds. Just a monster on that offensive line. And, successful teams build around their offensive line. And this is a great way I think Arizona can start to get back into being a competitive team down the road. So I have them picking this tackle out of Miami, Hamza, 3rd overall.
It's a great pick. Just a quick question for you. Do you think there's been talks within around, if you're watching Mount Kuiper's mock drafts and listen to other people talking about Maui, a lot of people say he might be best at guard in the NFL. Do you agree with that, or do you think we should stick him at tackle?
I think all that stuff depends in training camp. I think with his athletic ability, I don't see there being an issue with him being at guard. But just because of his height at 6'6", he's tall, really strong. Why are you laughing? Like, what is there? What? There's nothing there to smile. With his ability to play guard, I think is more beneficial for the Arizona Cardinals. But we've seen it before many times where tackles can play guard. And look at the Dallas Cowboys and Tyler Smith drafted as a guard and then ended up playing tackle. So either vice versa in that situation. So it all really depends on whatever fits their boat. But I have him at guard for sure.
That's a good reason. It's a good pick. So here at number 4, we have the Tennessee Titans, pick 4. Honestly, with this next pick, I don't think he is the best edge rusher in this class. I just think purely based on his dominant performance in the college football playoffs, he will get a little bit more favoritism on this side. I'm going to go back-to-back Miami Hurricane players here. Rueben Bain Jr., again, out of Miami. This guy finished the season with 12 sacks. He finally had a full healthy year. He played all 16 games this year. He had 68 hurries as well, and also he had one batted down. He almost got a pick. I can't remember that clip, but yeah. Anyways, Rueben Bain, this guy, he is a monster. People want to comment on want to worry about his wingspan and his arm length. To me, that doesn't matter. I think a guy who plays so viciously and so aggressive, and someone that is really dominant at the edge. I think honestly, I wouldn't say no-brainer, but I think this is a guy who can definitely help, revive this Tennessee Titans defense because, they desperately need some help. And with new head coach Robert Saleh, I think he'd be more lenient towards drafting a defensive player in the first round. So I have Rueben Bain going here, pick number 4 to the Tennessee Titans.
That's a great pick. Comes here at number 5, the New York Giants, similar to our first mock draft. I have them picking wide receiver Cardinal Tate from Ohio State, the 6'3" junior, 195 pounds. We mentioned in our first mock draft, and I'll reiterate that point that we made, is when you can add a talented receiver like Cardinal Tate to that offense now, and now they have John Harbaugh. We're looking forward to seeing how he works out with Jackson Dart. You're talking about a whole new look offense, a young offense, someone to play alongside a guy like Malik Neighbors. I think Cardinal Tate's a great player to go in this direction for the New York Giants. And you look at a wide receiver 1B down the road for this team. I think it's a great pick and someone that Malik Neighbors will definitely appreciate because I think down the road we'll see less coverages being catered towards Malik Neighbors. And we'll see how they go against Cardinal Tate. So I think it's a great pick for the New York Giants, Cardinal Tate. And, just like I said, just another weapon for that offense in Jackson Dart. So I have Cardinal Tate going number 5 to the New York Giants.
It's a great pick. Now we have the Browns here at number 6. Previously, we had wide receiver Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State going here. But now I think, especially after, the news, we got to protect the Pro Bowl quarterback, Shedeur Sanders.
That's great.
So we're going to go with Spencer Fanow, offensive tackle out of Utah. Again, we talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. This is a guy who played all 12 games this year, did not make the college football playoffs, did not make the championship game, but he allowed 0 sacks and 0 hits and only 5 hurries throughout this entire season. Again, it could be debatable later down throughout the offseason or throughout the draft process of who would go higher between Mainoya and Fanow. I just think at this moment, Mainoya is just ranked a little bit higher just based off his production in college football playoffs. But again, I think Fanow is definitely someone that can help start rebuilding this offensive line. And, honestly, the Browns, with how good their defense is, if they can just get a stable offensive line and just another weapon in that offense, I think, they could be right there competing for a AFC North title. So I think this pick definitely helps them, not just now, but in the future.
No, it's a great pick. Comes in. You mentioned Pro Bowl selection, Shedeur Sanders which we can maybe, if we have time, talk about that at the end of the episode. But number 7, Hamza, to the Washington Commanders. I have them selecting similar to the first mock draft, David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. Hamza, I think this guy, you can argue that the Washington Commanders need a whole bunch of players on the defensive side of the ball, whether it be secondary. They could have drafted Caleb Downs, but I think his position is locking him in kind of later in that top 10. But you have a guy like David Bailey, who I think he may be better than Rueben Bain. I think Rueben Bain is a phenomenal defensive end, but David Bailey's ability to get to the backfield, his natural bend, and his ability to get past tackles, I think is going to benefit the Washington Commanders in a great way. So I have the Washington Commanders going with David Bailey out of Texas Tech, and I think they're going to build around him because we've seen what happens in the NFL when teams have great defensive ends. Their defenses tend to better down the road. So I think Dan Quinn in this defense, he loves those edge rushers, and David Bailey brings that experience out of Texas Tech and the ability to have a great run here for the Washington Commanders. Does everything okay?
Sorry for giggling. I just heard. I'm not gonna say it right now, but just gonna try to move on and lock in.
All right.
But anyways, David Bailey again. He is unbelievable talent. I agree with you. Honestly, I do think he is better than Rueben Bain. I kind of briefly talked about it earlier. I just think that based off his production in the college football playoffs and when it mattered most, I think that's where they're going to take the side to more Rueben Bain than David Bailey. But anyways, both great talents at edge. So yeah, David Bailey to Washington, and that'd be scary to watch out for, especially in division with the NFC East. So at number 8, the Saints are on the clock. Again, they can go both ways. I think they can address their running back here. They could go Jeremiyah Love. They could go receiver with Jordan Tyson. And I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go wide receiver Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. And just another weapon to be alongside of Chris Olave. And I think you kind of saw that fade right when they let go of Rashid Shaheed to the Seahawks. It was just Chris Olave. They didn't really have much options down the field. They also let go of Brandon Cooks. And I think if you want to build around Tyler Shuck for multiple years and you really think he's the guy, of course, I think getting a running back will be helpful. But I think you can also address that in free agency. And with the line that they have, it's pretty good. They've built it up over the last couple of years. I think getting a weapon like Jordan Tyson, who is a 1B to Cardinal Tate in this draft, played really well this year. Kind of dipped a bit from his junior year, but 8 touchdowns, 711 yards on 61 receptions. Again, this is a guy who's super talented, freak athleticism. Also did not know that his brother is Jalen Tyson, the small forward for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Had no idea. I only found that out literally a couple of days ago, but that's pretty cool. But I'm going to go Jordan Tyson. I think it would just help, expand this offense even more and help him more down the stretch. And like I mentioned before, if you want to build around Tyler Shuck, I think getting another weapon alongside Chris Olave, who is someone who has a lot of injury concerns. I think, getting a guy like Jordan Tyson would be very beneficial to his team.
All right, we'll quickly jump here to the 9th overall pick and the Kansas City Chiefs. In the last mock draft, I think we had them drafting Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. In this mock draft, I think they're going to get another weapon on the offensive side of the ball and help Patrick Mahomes in that offense. And I have them picking cousin of Green Bay quarterback Jordan Love, Jeremiyah Love. No, I'm kidding. They're not related at all. But running back Jeremiyah Love out of Notre Dame. This year he had 1,300 yards rushing. He averaged 6 yards a carry and 18 touchdowns overall. And we showed his highlight pack the last mock draft as well, and it will be displaying here right now as well. You talk about a dynamic running back who's not afraid to get involved in the run blocking game as well. He's able to catch the ball down the field, and his athletic ability is honestly second to none. And I think when this draft's all said and done, all done for, in a year's time, I don't think it'd be too much of a stretch to say that Jeremiyah Love is one of the best prospects in this entire draft. And just think about the weapon that he will be able to, the weapon that Patrick Mahomes will be able to add with a guy like Jeremiyah Love. I think it goes, it's very scary if you ask me, and the AFC should be ready for that. So Jeremiyah Love, running back from Notre Dame, I have him going to the Kansas City Chiefs. And Hamza, they'll fly back to you here for the 10th overall pick. The Cincinnati Bengals on the clock.
The Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. again, this defense is just horrific. They need, honestly, every single position. I'm going to go with probably the most talented and probably one of the better prospects in this draft. I'm going to go with Ohio State Buckeye, Caleb Downs, the safety. Again, this is a guy who's a dog, can fly all over the field. Had 45 solo tackles this year, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, and a pass deflection as well. He just continues to get better every single year, ever since his freshman year at Alabama to his sophomore year last year to his junior year to this year. This is a guy who just continues to keep getting better. And Caleb Downs is a guy that, again, it's unfortunate that his position group is valued so low, especially in the drafts. I think if it wasn't, he in terms of talent, he's a top 5 talent for sure. He's a top 5 player on my board throughout this year, and I think he will be, depending on also how he does throughout the draft process. But yeah, Caleb Downs is one of the guys who can just completely, elevate a defense that needs help, especially regarding the secondary. So with that, Caleb Downs is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal at pick number 10.
All right, Hamza, 2 more picks here, and then we'll quickly chat about some takeaways in these top 12 picks, and we will fly through picks 13 to 21 and then 21 to 32. But before that, pick number 11, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, and I have them picking the best corner in this draft. As a Cowboy fan, you're praying and you're hoping that he can maybe fall to the next pick. But I have the Miami Dolphins selecting cornerback Mansour Delane out of LSU. Just an absolute unbelievable athlete, Hamza. He can play inside, he can play outside. His athletic ability to also make plays on the ball, high pointing balls as a defensive back is honestly second to none. And his ability to also make downfield tackles as well. He's not afraid to get back into the backfield. If you have little screen plays or little flat routes, he's right there to make a play. And obviously, people know about his athletic ability in terms of intercepting the ball. You saw his breakout game earlier this year against Clemson. This was a great pick for Miami Dolphins, and they can really build around this guy. You look at Miami and what they're trying to do in the secondary with Minkah Fitzpatrick. They already have a really good, we argue, a front defensive line with Bradley Chubb. They obviously traded Jalen Phillips, but they have some pieces around on that Miami defense. And now they're going to add a guy like Mansour Delane, who, like I mentioned before, I think is the best corner in this draft. I think it's just a great value at pick 11. And one that Miami Dolphin fans are going to be extremely happy with. So that's my pick at 11, Hamza. And now, pick 12, our Dallas Cowboys, Hamza, are on the clock. Who do you have? If you remember last time, I had them picking Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. So now it's your turn to make the 12th overall pick. Who are the Dallas Cowboys drafting, Hamza?
So pick 12, again, like you mentioned before, Sonny Styles. He is available. And someone that, if Dallas takes that 12 again, I'd be extremely happy with. But with this time around, I'm going to go a bit of a different route here. I'm going to go with someone who in 2024 was unanimously the best corner in college football. Someone that was guaranteed a top 5 pick going into the next year. But unfortunately dealt with some injuries. But will be healthy enough to compete in the combine and will be healthy enough to compete in the pro day. And we see the film on this guy, and I'm talking about Jeremiah McCoy, the cornerback out of Tennessee. Like I mentioned before, I said something that he was the best corner in 2024. He was the best corner in college football a year ago. And I truly do mean that. This is a guy who was a lockdown. This guy can play the ball. This guy was really good off the press. He had 4 interceptions. He had one of the best passer ratings, meaning that when you would throw this guy, it'd most likely be incomplete. You could not get around this guy. Only allowed 2 touchdowns that year. Only 386 yards. This is something that Dallas needs desperately, especially with the departure of of Trayvon Diggs and the inconsistent play of the rest of our DB crew. I think addressing corner at 12, you might not like his injury concerns, and Dallas, always has an injured DB, no matter what year it is. But this is a guy who's never been hurt before, except for this year. Someone that can really get fully back to 100% with a good training staff and a good training camp. He'd be healthy for all that. So with that, I think Jeremiah McCoy would be a great pick for Dallas. And injuries are, again, they're one thing, but the tape says it all. He's honestly one of the best corners in this draft, despite not even playing a full season. So At pick 12, I have Jamar McCoy.
Your mic sounds a little bit muffled there at the end of that. But yeah, Jamal McCoy, a great defensive back, and I think, like you mentioned before, if he didn't have a torn ACL and those injury concerns coming into this draft, I think he can easily go in the top 10. But Hamza, I have a question for you regarding this Dallas.
Am I good now?
Yeah, it's better now. Regarding this pick here for the Dallas Cowboys, obviously you mentioned Sonny Styles would be a great option at 12. I think Cowboys Nation would be extremely happy with Sonny Styles manning that that linebacking core along a guy like DeMarvion Overshown. But Hamza, how much do you think the hiring of Christian Parker, now our defensive coordinator, a big-time specialist on the secondary with the Denver Broncos helping Pat Surtain, and then obviously in Miami helping a guy like Kenyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, how much do you think that would warrant the Dallas Cowboys to pick a corner at 12 rather than maybe going linebacker or defensive edge?
I think that's a great question. I think for sure having that defensive back background will definitely impact this pick. I do believe truly that whether at pick 12 or pick 20, a corner will be selected in the draft. I think there's other needs that Dallas can address in free agency that would help out better and eventually let us pick best player available when it comes to the draft. But like you mentioned before, Christian Parker, when he was with Denver, he really was a significant reason for the success of Patrick Surtain. I'm not sure what that noise is.
Yeah, your mic's kind of going up and down a little bit. We'll get that sorted out here in a second here. But Hamza, no, it's great. It's a little bit better now. Try again.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better now, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah.
No, okay. But like I mentioned before, he was a big reason of Patrick Surtain's success in his first couple of seasons with Denver. And then eventually, like you said before again, he went with Philly and was there when they drafted Kenyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, who have been great this year too, all pros for this Philly defense. And Cooper DeJean said himself, he said that, all the Philly fans are upset that, they let a guy like Christian Parker go. And Cooper DeJean is also one of them he tweeted out that Dallas got a good one in Christian Parker. Again, we don't know what he would do as a DC, but for everything that we heard of, for everything that we've seen, and the background check, he checks off. And I think getting a guy like Jamar McCoy, who has the talent, who has the skill to be an elite corner in the National Football League, I think being under Christian Parker's scheme and a new system will definitely help. And also, I think with the DBs that we have, they're not horrible. I think we really just need one more, and that would just elevate the play of Jamar McCoy, because maybe we're not expecting the guard or the wide receiver one right away. Eventually, it's gonna lift up throughout training camp and whatnot. So yeah, I think Jamar McCoy will. I think any corner that Dallas will get would be beneficial, but I think especially with Jamar McCoy, he's one of a kind, and he's a talent, a prospect that every Cowboy fan, not even just Cowboy fan, but every other fan of any team should really look out for, and not underrate him because of stupid injuries.
No, that's a great point, Hamza. And now you know what? We're gonna move on to the second half of the NFL, our mock draft 2.0. We ask at this moment that everyone please, thank you guys for the support. We ask that you guys continue to like, comment, and subscribe on our videos. I think we're at 89 subscribers, guys. We're almost there at 100. We really appreciate you guys' support. And now let's fly through this. So, Hamza, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly through picks 13 to pick 20. And then we'll, for a few minutes here, talk about a few players that stood out. And then you'll take it home with us from picks 21 to 32. And we'll do the same thing on the later half. All right, here we go. So now, pick 13, we have the LA Rams drafting linebacker Sonny Styles from Ohio State. At 14, we have the Baltimore Ravens drafting Peter Woods, D-tackle from Clemson University. Pick 15, who is one of my favorite players in this entire draft, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafting tight end Kenyon Sadiq out of University of Oregon. At 16, the second quarterback taken off the board to the New York Jets. We have them taking Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama. At 17, the Detroit Lions help their edge rushing need alongside Aiden Hutchinson, and they're going to pick Keldrick Folk out of the University of Auburn. At 18, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking Avion Terrell, brother of A.J. Terrell from the Atlanta Falcons. At pick 19, the Carolina Panthers are going to go receiver for the second year in a row, and they're going to draft Makai Lemon at the University of Southern California. USC. And at pick 20, Hamza, our Dallas Cowboys, we have them mocking C.J. Allen, linebacker out of the University of Georgia. So, Hamza, just out of those picks, from 13 to pick 20, what are some names that kind of stand out to you? And then I will follow that with some of the names that stand out to myself.
So I think we should go out with the second quarterback taken in this draft. We have Ty Simpson going to the Jets. I truly believe if Ty Simpson wasn't dealing with injuries throughout the rest of the college football season, that he potentially would have gone higher and his play would have definitely got better. He played 15 games this year. He had 3,561 yards thrown, 28 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Led the Crimson, what they're called, Crimson Tide, right?
Yeah.
Bama, yeah. He led the Crimson Tide to a SEC championship game. They lost, right, to Georgia? Yeah, they lost. But we made it all the way there. Alabama recently, they've been doing a really good job at producing quarterbacks, last year. Even though we haven't seen him play yet, but Jalen Milroe is still someone who I'm high on. Bryce Young, Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts previously. Again, I think Alabama does a great job with that. But with Ty Simpson going to the Jets here, I think for sure the Jets will be looking to get into a veteran quarterback. I think without a doubt, if Dante Moore was in this draft, the Jets would have taken him at 2. I think having an opportunity to get a guy like Ty Simpson, to get a quarterback with a little bit more experience than other quarterbacks in this draft, I think would definitely help and definitely be a bright spot for the Jets in the future and continue to help develop that young team. Like, this is a young team with multiple picks in the future as well. They have a bunch of day 2 picks as well, which will help. There's a lot of directions you could have gone. You could have gone D tackle here at 16 as well. But in this scenario, we just have Ty Simpson going here, and I think it would be very beneficial to get a quarterback like him.
And before I get into the Cowboys pick at 20, picking C.J. Allen out of Georgia, I really want to talk about this player, Hamza, going to 15 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kenyon Sadiq. And obviously, when NFL teams are drafting players, they want those players to make an immediate impact for their rosters, right? And that's what we hope for as fans, as these teams. We want these guys to play well right away. And I would argue that I don't think anyone's going to have a bigger impact right away than maybe Kenyon Sadiq in Tampa Bay, Hamza. That offense is already super dynamic. Emeka Ibuka, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield playing at a high level, Bucky Irving as well. So now you add a guy like Kenyon Sadiq, who is... Sorry, just give me 1 second here. You add a guy like Kenyon Sadiq, who's 6'3", 245 pounds, out of the University of Oregon, if I didn't mention before. He had 560 yards this year. He averaged 11 yards a catch, and he had 8 touchdowns. Just watching this guy's tape, Hamza, he's a special player. He's able to catch the ball down the field. His ability to block as well and open up these lanes for these running backs and a lot of these slide motion type of runs or these backside motion runs. A lot of the times, Kenyon Sadiq is the leading blocker in these situations. So I think you add a guy like that into Tampa Bay who likes to run the ball a lot with Bucky Irving, who thrive on play-action passes down the field. I think Kenyon Sadiq makes an immediate impact for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this is a player that I'm really high on, and maybe in the next draft, Hamza, I actually could see him going even earlier than 15. He's that kind of player for the Oregon Ducks. And if you don't mind, Hamza, if I can talk about C.J. Allen out of the University of Georgia coming to the Dallas Cowboys.
I just want to say one quick thing on Kenny Sadiq, though. I'm not even joking, and asking you this as well. I can't remember that I've seen a more athletic tight end coming out of a draft.
Maybe Kyle Pitts out of when he was.
No, but he was not jumping in the way that this guy can do. Like, this guy, like, literally, it's actually he's a receiver playing tight end.
He's a special player.
Yeah, he is, honestly. If they can get him going, dude. Because also Kate Allen's a free agent as well, so we don't know if he's gonna come back to Tampa. Again, it would just completely open that offense. And this guy, like, bro, genuinely one of the nastiest and, like, most athletic receivers. Honestly, I'm gonna say receivers type in college I've, like, ever seen. It's ridiculous.
He's a great player, and I think if Tampa Bay can get him at 15, they're gonna love that value as well. So Hamza at 20, I had our Dallas Cowboys. I had them picking C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. And, we were talking a little bit before we started recording today How will free agency impact, I think, the 20th pick? I think at the 12th overall pick, you're going to pick best player available, whether that be Sonny Styles or Mansour Delane or a top-level corner like Jamal McCoy. But I think pick 20 truly depends on what Dallas does in free agency. And obviously with Christian Parker coming from Philadelphia, there's been a lot of rumors about Nakobe Dean potentially making his way to Dallas, and some Blankenship as well from the Eagles secondary making their way to Dallas, which would be absolutely amazing. But in my mind, I'm saying even if you do go out there and get a guy like Nakobe Dean, linebacker was such an important position that the Dallas Cowboys needed to address this offseason. And I think a guy like CJ Allen can provide that value that the Dallas Cowboys need. He's 6'1", a little bit on the smaller end in terms of linebackers, 235 pounds. And when you watch his tape, you might not think he's the fastest guy on the field, but he is going down there and he's absolutely thumping and meeting guys at the hole, stuffing every run play possible. He's a good sideline to sideline tackler as well. He's just a heavy, solid linebacker that I think the Dallas Cowboys can really benefit from using at pick 20. Great value. I think in the last mock draft we had him going to the Eagles a little bit later, but I think the Dallas Cowboys can address corner at 12, whether that be Jamal McCoy, whether that be Mansour Delane, Sonny Styles even. You can then play around with pick 20. And in this mock draft, you had Jamal McCoy go at 12. I think a perfect match for that is CJ Allen at 20. So I'm extremely excited if the Dallas Cowboys do end up going down this route, picking him. But as I mentioned before, I think free agency for the Dallas Cowboys is going to dictate a lot what they do at pick 20 more so than pick 12.
It's kind of crazy to say that, honestly, even at this point, Dallas doesn't really have any reliable linebackers. Before you say DeMarvion Overshown, he's had a lot of injury concerns, and this is a guy who can't really stay on the field as much as we want. And like you said, free agency is one thing, addressing that, but I think also drafting a linebacker will just continue to help booster, this front seven for this Cowboys defense. We have, I would like to say we have decent linebackers. Like between you and I, we really like Maris Leafau. We drafted him in the third round 2 years ago in the 2024 draft. Shamar James is someone who showed out a little bit. Overshown, if he can stay healthy, we know how good he can be. And Logan Wilson, I don't think will even be on the team this next season. I'm not even just trying to say that to troll, but I think, with the linebacker, especially with CJ Allen, this is a guy who can really read the offense. Someone that has, like you, pretty sure you mentioned it before, great instincts. So he's not a guy that is just going to run through the wrong A gap when the other guy's running through the B gap. Kenneth Murray. So this is a guy who is really good, and again, someone that can get at 20. The value's there, and again, I'd be very happy if Dallas can somehow land CJ Allen at 20 if they address corner early on, or any other position or group early on.
And before Hamza, you move on to the last half or the last third of this mock draft, Hamza, I just want to quickly address this. And when you look at the Micah Parsons trade, and I think I speak for all of Cowboy fans, the only way the Dallas Cowboys can truly win that trade is if they have 2 home runs with these 2 picks. There's not often you have an opportunity to pick 2 players in the top 20, and this draft overall is a pretty decent draft. They got a lot of players around here in the beginning of the draft and the later end of the draft that can make an immediate impact for their teams. So I think the Dallas Cowboys have no choice, and they do draft well, but they have to have a home run picks with these 2 players at pick 12 and pick 20, and I think Jamal McCoy, despite his injury concerns, and CJ Allen in this mock draft are 2 players that they can be considered as home run hitters, and something I'm extremely excited for down the road. But enough about the Cowboys, Hamza. Let's move on to the later half. I'll let you drive this one home for us, and let's hear it from picks. This will be picks 21 to 32.
Yeah, so pick 21, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, new under head coach Mike McCarthy, who is more of an offensive guy. Something new there for Pittsburgh, so they're going to go address to help whoever their quarterback is. Get another receiver alongside DK Metcalf. They're going to go the big body jump ball guy, Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington. At pick 22, I promise you I'm going to butcher his name again. Oliviega Laoni, guard out of Penn State. It goes to the Chargers at 22. I pick number 23, the Eagles are going to select Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Bama. We don't know the situation with Lane Johnson and their other tackles and whatnot. So they're just going to address that. At pick 24, previously the Browns took Spencer Fennell at pick 6, so they're going to go help out their Pro Bowl quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. They're going to go get Casey Concepcion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. And pick 25, the Chicago Bears are going to beef up that defensive tackle. They're going to go Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. At pick 26, the Buffalo Bills go with 6'13" native Akeem Mesidor, edge rusher out of Florida. At pick 27, the 49ers are going to go with, honestly, one of my favorite edge rushers in this class, Cassius Howell, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. At pick 28, we had him going at the same spot at our previous mock draft. Emmanuel Pregnon, guard out of Oregon, will be going to Houston at pick 28. At pick 29, the LA Rams are going to take Brandon Cisse, cornerback out of South Carolina. At pick 30, the Denver Broncos are going to take Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. At pick 31, the New England Patriots are going to select Caleb Lumu. And also, we don't know if the Patriots are going to be 31 or the Seahawks should be 32. We're just making an educated guess.
Next mock draft will go Patriots. Oh, I guess we'll actually know in the next mock draft.
Yeah, we'll know. So, and then at pick 32, someone that you may not see go here, but we really like this guy. We're going to go at pick 32. The Seattle Seahawks are going to go Chris Johnson, cornerback out of San Diego State. And that concludes the HnH mock draft. The HnH mock draft 2.0. That was really fun, and we'll highlight a couple players here. That was fun.
Yeah, so before we end the podcast, I just want to talk about, you mentioned the 32nd overall pick, Chris Johnson, cornerback at San Diego State. Hamza, I'm really high on this player. I think I like him a lot, and I think he can also go a little bit earlier in the draft as well. His draft profile is slowly starting to increase, and I think the combine is going to be a big opportunity for him. He's 6 foot corner, 185 pounds. This season, 2025, he had 1 forced fumble. He had a sack comes as a corner, and he had 4 interceptions this year and 2 touchdowns. It says here on ESPN. I didn't even know that. So this guy, he's a dynamic player. I think he's someone that can make an immediate impact for Seattle. And you look at Seattle, man, and we have them obviously in this mock draft picking 32 because we think that they can win the Super Bowl. You had a guy like Chris Johnson, and these late value picks end up being really big time players for you down the road. So. The player I'm going to highlight here is Chris Johnson out of San Diego State.
Yeah, the player I'm going to highlight here is at pick 21. I had the Steelers going with Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington. This is a big wide receiver, 6'3". This is a guy who had 11 touchdowns this year on 881 receiving yards, 95 targets, and 62 receptions. Played majority of his snaps at wideout, but also played a few in slot as well. This is a guy who's, you see him run. I don't think he'll have the fastest 40 time. I think he'd maybe run like a 4.55 or 4.5 something. But I think the game speed will translate a lot. I think there's a lot of people who don't have combine speed, but they have a lot of game speed. I think Denzel Boston is one of them. I think you're able to expand your offense a lot because for the longest time, you don't have a predominant wide receiver in Pittsburgh. For the longest time, it was Pickens, and then they brought in DK. They let go of Pickens to Dallas. But now it's just DK, and I think bringing a guy like Denzel Boston will just help expand the offense and help whoever will be at quarterback next year, whether that's Aaron Rodgers, and kind of leave some weight off DK Metcalf. And I actually do quite like Denzel Boston a lot, and I think this will help Pittsburgh for sure.
And that'll do it, guys, for our mock draft 2.0. Obviously, we had a lot of love from our first mock draft, so we appreciate the support. That's probably one of the most viewed videos we've had in a long time. So you guys clearly like the mock draft episodes, and there will be more to come. I think we'll do the next one a couple weeks after the Super Bowl, which, by the way, it's officially announced the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Next week, we will do a full season recap, a Super Bowl preview episode for you guys. That should be extremely exciting. But yeah, on my behalf, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you guys' support. get us to 100 subscribers, man. We're at 89 subscribers. We're almost there at 100. But yeah, no, I appreciate the support. Thanks to everyone listening on YouTube and Spotify. And with that being said, I'll let Hamza take it home for us.
Just before I end our podcast, and that was a great lob to me to finish the outro, but I just airballed the lob, so I just had to finish one thing. A question came around today, and I was just curious of what you think about it. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Is a hot dog? No, a hot dog is a hot dog. It's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
A sandwich is like a BLT vibes, or like a cold cut type of vibe with like lettuce, tomatoes, and a toast and bread. Hot dog is its own thing. It's its own.
You'd be surprised the amount of people that said hot dogs are a sandwich. Like, what are you doing if you go to a restaurant and be like, "Can I have a sandwich a day?" and they bring you a hot dog?
But you know what? Burgers are not sandwiches, right?
No, but a beef burger is not a sandwich. A beef burger is a burger, but a chicken burger is a chicken sandwich, not a chicken burger.
Yeah. See, I say like at restaurants when we go, I say, "Can I get a chicken burger?"
No, but it depends. If it's grilled, then yeah, then it's a burger. If it's fried, then it's a sandwich.
Interesting. Crazy way to end the podcast there, Hamza.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, guys, we appreciate all the love and support. Please let us down. Please let us know in the comments if a hot dog is a sandwich or not. We would love to see your guys' opinions on that. But like as I mentioned before, we're almost at 100 subscribers. So instead of him just yelling at you guys consistently for video after video, why don't we just get him at it? Why don't we just get us at 100? So you don't have to hear him do that again. Again, we appreciate all the support, and we will be back next week with a potential special guest. We don't know yet. So yeah, again, we appreciate the love. See you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.